Good evening. It is a privilege for me to invite you to participate in the opening rituals to begin this evening's portion of the virtual 129th Continental Congress. Now, portions of this evening's programming were recorded in advance, so I want you to follow the magical costume change as the evening progresses. Our invocation will be given by Pamela Peterson Bork, our Chaplain General. Mrs. Bork.
Madam President General, our scripture for today is 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Please pray in your faith and tradition as I pray in mine. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we rejoice in the gifts that you have given to each of us, the different talents, the diverse opportunities for leadership, and the varying and collective experiences that life affords. We pray that the joy and satisfaction we receive through you for our dedication to our responsibilities will encourage all daughters to strive for an increased effort to preserve our heritage and the freedoms we as Americans enjoy. In your name, amen.
Please rise and join me to recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us next share together the American's Creed, followed by the first verse of our national anthem.
I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies.
Please be seated. Our Congress will now switch to a live feed so that we may be officially called to order and therefore conduct the business of the 129th Continental Congress. Good evening once again. I am now indeed coming to you live from the stage in DAR Constitution Hall on the evening of Thursday, June 25th, 2020, in order that we can follow official protocols to call to order in real time the annual conference of our National Society, as well as share some pertinent information with you in order to carry out the official business of the 129th Continental Congress throughout the rest of this week. By virtue of the authority vested in me as President General of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, I call to order the 129th Continental Congress. Now, Robert's Rules of Order states that the minimum number of essential officers for the conducting of business is a presiding officer and a recording secretary. Well, I can assure you that the recording secretary general is in attendance with us online and will be throughout our entire Congress. So everyone, please join me in waving to our recording secretary general, Peggy Troxel, at home in North Carolina. Hello, Mrs. Troxel. Due to the nationally declared COVID-19 health pandemic and resulting stay-at-home restrictions, the National Board of Management invoked temporary emergency powers authorized within the Code of the District of Columbia Nonprofit Corporation Emergency Powers and exercised the authority granted to it in the National Society's bylaws to approve conducting the 129th Continental Congress online. The National Board of Management was also empowered to adopt the Credentials Committee report, the standing rules, and the program in order to officially open for business the 129th Continental Congress. A quorum call of authorized delegates and other voting members was taken on Wednesday, June 24th, prior to opening night. These numbers established that a quorum was indeed present. The National Chair of the Credentials Committee, Mary V. Gustafson, submitted the report of the Credentials Committee. Please note on page 32 in the back of your program there is a Credentials report form where you may record the statistics. The following Credentials Committee report was adopted by the National Board of Management. Executive Officers 12, Vice Presidents General 21, Honorary Presidents General 6, Honorary Vice Presidents General 6, State Regents or Vice Regents 52, Chapter Regents or Vice Regents 645, Delegates 1,677. Total voting strength 2,419. Alternates 665 for a total credentials report of 3,084. The roll of delegates hereby submitted is the official roll of the voting members of the Congress. The voting strength of the 129th Continental Congress is 2,419. I declare a quorum is present and the voting body of this Congress is established. Please note that in addition to recording the official's credentials report, a cumulative daily tally of the number of viewers from online reporting will be made and reported on Sunday morning during the live portion of that session and included in the proceedings book of this Congress. Due to your outstanding engagement, we have already accumulated 15,000 views on the opening night ceremony segment, setting a record as the largest opening night audience ever. Huzzah, daughters, and thank you. So how is it that we've been enabled to conduct the business of the Continental Congress, given that the three items that officially open the Congress for business are traditionally adopted by the Assembly? Because, as stated earlier, the National Society's bylaws authorize the National Board of Management to have full authority to act during declared emergencies. All delegates and voting members received a copy of the standing rules prior to the opening night of this 129th Continental Congress. The standing rules were adopted by the National Board of Management. All delegates and voting members received a copy of the official program. Connie Oldie, National Chair of our Continental Congress, submitted the report of the Congress program, subject to any changes that may be necessary, as the order of business for the 129th Continental Congress to be presented online. The Congress program was adopted by the National Board of Management. And with the adoption of these three reports, the 129th Continental Congress is now officially opened for business. On Saturday, June 27, 2020, congressional delegates will be asked to vote on two motions, one to adopt the Audit Committee report and one to adopt the name of the President General's project, in addition to voting to fill the positions of 1 Honorary Vice President General and 7 Vice Presidents General. These motions and candidates will all be presented later this evening during the pre-recorded session of our program. Because of the nature of our Continental Congress having to be conducted virtually this year, delegates were given the opportunity, as stated in the standing rules, to submit germane discussion and amendments in writing by June the 20th, 2020. A dedicated email inbox monitored by the Recording Secretary General and the National Parliamentarian was created to allow our delegates to offer such amendments and to participate in discussion of pending motions as necessary. One discussion item from a registered delegate was received in that dedicated email inbox. It spoke specifically about the Treasurer General's report that had been provided online and to delegates in advance of this week's Congress. The full report of the Audit Committee will be presented during the business session of the program later this evening. But because that presentation was pre-recorded, we will be addressing this question we received during this live session. So, a registered delegate of the Courtney Spaulding chapter of Kansas raised two questions specifically about the Treasurer General's report, one regarding the increase in expenses associated with banquets, luncheons, and travel, and the second regarding the increase in professional services expenses. The question was addressed via email as follows by the Treasurer General and the Controller. In regard to the first item, increased expenses were related to 2019 being an election year. Expenses were similar to what was expended during the 2016 DAR election cycle. As to the second question, a combination of several items contributed to the increase. As examples, the National Archives digitization project accounted for $100,000, direct mail cost increased due to the launch of a new President General's project, and a professional search firm was contracted to both fill the vacancy in the Human Resources Director position and cover the salary of the interim HR Director. The delegate acknowledged the answer provided to her and raised no further discussion. No other items were raised. As authorized by the standing rules adopted by the National Board of Management, the minutes of the 129th Continental Congress will be reviewed, corrected as necessary, and approved by the following committee: Dawn Lemongello, Treasurer General; Marcy Kimmenaugh, Vice President General; Tammy Clemens, State Regent of Alabama. It was necessary to complete these essential items in a live format in order to establish ours as an official Congress. We will now return to our pre-recorded Thursday evening program, which I know you are going to enjoy.
This evening, we celebrate achievements in education and the arts. We also present the reports of your national executive officers, as well as the nominations for the office of Vice President General and Honorary Vice President General. One of the most rewarding and visible ways that DAR chapters engage students and educators is to conduct our annual American History Essay Contest, which was begun in 1956 and is conducted in thousands of communities every year. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the National Vice Chair of the American History Committee to announce the national winners of the DAR American History Essay Contest. Welcome, Allie Dunklin.
Madam President General, we have an incredible group of students this year, and our national judges thoroughly enjoyed participating in judging this year's contest. Our first judge is Dr. Jared Louvier from Jackson, Tennessee, and our second judge, Dr. Anwar Mansour, grew up in Cairo, Egypt, and currently resides in Irvine, California. Our final judge is educator Yvonne Ruggles of Corpus Christi, Texas. Now it is my honor to introduce the 2020 American History Essay Contest winners. Our national 5th grade winner is Delaney Lauren Jensen. Prior to moving to Idaho to be closer to extended family, she and her family lived in Colorado for 7 years. Delaney is homeschooled and loves soccer, rollerblading, collecting stuffed animals, and tending to her pet chickens. She actually won first place at the state fair for showing them. Delaney is a member of 4-H, which is a youth-based organization whose mission is to engage youth to reach their fullest potential while advancing the field of youth development. It is clear that Delaney is excelling and doing a wonderful job of reaching her potential. She holds a job mowing her grandparents' lawn with her brother Wyatt, and in the future, she hopes to make crafts and pizza for a living. Delaney's parents, Sarah and Mike Jensen, are very proud of their daughter and her accomplishments. Delaney is sponsored by the Lieutenant George Farragut chapter of Athol, Idaho, State Regent Martha Schmidt.
I appreciate the opportunity to participate in this year's DAR essay competition. I'm very honored to be the winner of the 5th grade category in the DAR essay. I'll now read an excerpt of my essay. It is April 5th, 1621. I'm standing on the beach in the harbor, watching the Mayflower getting smaller and smaller as it sails back to England. 66 days on that beautiful ship seemed like years. The last few months felt even longer. I slid to the ground weeping. Being orphaned in a new world made me think we came here very unprepared. In 1620, 35 pilgrims, including my family, went back to England on a ship called the Speedwell. We joined 67 others in England and set off to America aboard the Mayflower with the Speedwell as its tender ship. The Speedwell took on water and we returned to Southampton 2 times. The Speedwell was left behind. On September 16th, all 102 passengers boarded the Mayflower and started the journey to the Virginia Company settlement. We needed more food and warm shelters to survive, and arriving sooner would have helped provide us with more time to prepare. Leaving the Speedwell behind was necessary, but we needed more supplies to get through the harsh winter. A wave came in and crashed against my feet as I lost sight of the Mayflower. We had a shortage of food, livestock, hunting provisions, warm clothing, remedies, and time when we started this new life. It has been hard without my family. We did not have a shortage of fortitude, determination, or faith in God. We now have the help of Samoset, Squato, and Massasoit, who is the chief of the Wampanoag Indian tribe. Those of us who overcame the winter, not a single one wanted to return to England on the Mayflower. Thank you, DAR.
Our 6th grade winner is Brennan Gifford of Florence, South Carolina, where he attends Florence Christian School and has successfully achieved in making the president's list each year. Brennan's hobbies include reading, writing, building Legos, swimming, and playing baseball. Additionally, Brennan is passionate about literature and has participated annually in the South Carolina Independent School District State Literary Meet, where he has won 3rd place in storytelling and 1st place in poetry. Along with his passion for literature, Brennan has a passion for theater and has excelled in his performances during 3 school plays, the children's choir, and 2 church plays. He will continue to attend Florence Christian School through his middle and high school years, and upon graduation, he plans to attend college with a focus on writing and theater. Brennan is grateful for the support and love of his brother Easton and his parents, Michael and Kristen Gifford, who are both in law enforcement. Brennan is sponsored by the Samuel Baycock chapter of Effingham, South Carolina. State Regent, Libby Billum.
Hi, I am Brennan Gifford. It is a great honor to win the national title of the Daughters of the American Revolution essay contest. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. I want to first thank God because I did not do this on my own, but through His strength. I would also like to thank the Daughters of the American Revolution for their investment into our lives as students and into preserving the history of the United States. Thank you to my parents who sacrificed so much that I can receive a quality Christian education. I would also like to thank my Florence Christian School teacher, Ms. Mona Timmons, who encouraged my love for writing by inviting me to participate in this essay competition. Last but definitely not least, I would like to thank Ms. Audra Flamini, who has become like a part of my family. Ms. Audra has been instrumental in teaching me writing skills that have encouraged the writer within me. This is a brief part of my essay. I, Samuel Fuller, traveled aboard the Mayflower in 1620 in search of new land and religious freedom. As a surgeon, I thought I boarded the Mayflower prepared for medical difficulties, but soon discovered that I was less prepared than I thought. On one fearful day on board the Mayflower, we crossed paths with a dangerous storm. The salty seawater was splashing into the ship and touching the taste buds on my tongue every time I waved it. So much water had flooded into the ship that our feet and ankles were drenched and cold. If only I could go back to that fateful day in 1620. I have prepared better so that more pilgrims could have survived. Thank you.
Our 7th grade national winner is Jay Vizzi of Los Angeles, California, and he attends St. Martin of Tours School in Brentwood, California. When not at school, Jay enjoys all sports, especially soccer and tennis. Additionally, he loves spending time with his cousins and his brother Devin, who is also a former division winner for the essay contest. Jay loves traveling, especially to historic sites such as the Statue of Liberty, the U.S. Capitol, and Plymouth Rock. Jay's maternal grandparents are from India, and his mother, Geeta, who is a media relations executive and contributor to BBC Radio, is a first-generation American. Jay's father, Rosario, is an attorney at Bryan Cave LLP, and at the moment, Jay would like to follow in his father's footsteps and become an attorney when he grows up. Jay is sponsored by the Beverly Hills chapter of Beverly Hills, California. State Regent, Adele, Lancaster.
Firstly, I would like to thank St. Martin of Tours School in Brentwood, California for sponsoring the DAR contest. I would also like to thank the Beverly Hills chapter, California State chapter, and the entire Daughters of the American Revolution organization for giving me this award. September 6, 1620. 2 months have passed and I continue pickpocketing. I have eluded town watchmen, but today my luck ran out. A constable caught me stealing a plump gentleman's satchel and chased me to the docks. Cornered, I hid among the stevedores and pretended to load crates onto a large ship with the letters Mayflower on the port side bow. Alongside was the Speedwell, which I overheard the baker say returned to port after springing leaks at sea. The constable drew closer, and I had no choice but to hide in the Mayflower's cargo hold. Hours later, I could still hear the constable's bellowing voice. Suddenly, the ship began to move, and I am now one of its passengers. I fear I will never see my family again. January 2nd, 1621. I am writing this entry in the Common Building, which has been converted into a sick house. My illness has severely weakened me. I am constantly coughing and have chills, chest pain, bloody mucus, and trouble breathing. I am told I do not have much time to live. If I had been able to pack before the journey, I would have brought warmer clothes to fight off freezing temperatures, smaller fish hooks to catch local fish, and calomel, herbs, and ointments to cure our sicknesses. Many have died. As I pause after another coughing fit, I look down at my mother's Bible and my father's playing cards on the bed beside me, and I smile, knowing our brave and determined company will persevere in this cold and unforgiving new world.
It is an honor to announce that Mason Longhurst is this year's 8th grade national winner, because after corresponding with his mother, I learned that he has participated in the American History Essay Contest since 5th grade and has won at the chapter and state level each year. Mason attends Challenger School, Traverse Mountain campus in Utah, and has won multiple awards for mathematics and technology. This student body president and school bookstore CEO has competed on his school robotics team and enjoys football, horseback riding, and swimming. He is an avid reader and writer who especially loves writing historical fiction, particularly about World War I. Mason has thoroughly enjoyed connecting with those who have lived through historical events, as well as connecting history to his own ancestors. While he is still undecided about his future goals, Mason is looking forward to the journey of continuing his education and the path that will lead him to his future career. Mason lives in South Jordan, Utah, with his parents, Byron and Talia, and his younger brother, Sam, who also competed in the American History Essay Contest and who has also earned the distinction of being a repeat winner at the state level. Mason is sponsored by the Wasatch Ranger chapter of Provo, Utah, State Regent Susan Holt.
Hello, my name is Mason Longhurst. I live in South Jordan, Utah, and attend school at Challenger School, Traverse Mountain campus. I am the 2020 8th grade national winner of the DAR American History Essay Contest. Thank you for this award. I enjoy researching the historical events for the DAR essay each year. This year, I chose to write my essay in the form of journal entries from the perspective of William Trevor, who was a crew member on the Mayflower. Mr. Trevor originally sailed on the Speedwell and was hired to labor for 1 year to help the separatists get to the New World. We know the Speedwell was not a trustworthy sailing ship. Mr. Trevor and some of the separatists from that ship soon joined those on the Mayflower as they finally set sail in 1620. It was a difficult winter, and Mr. Trevor worked alongside the Pilgrims to establish the new colony. After 1 year, having fulfilled his contract, Mr. Trevor left the colony on a ship called the Fortune. A few years later, he was made captain of his own ship, the William. He and his ship made several trips to deliver passengers to America during the 1630s. This is an excerpt from my essay. August 20th, 1632, Plymouth. The feeling I felt today upon seeing the once small Plymouth colony I helped build so many years ago was remarkable. I think of the adventures I encountered upon leaving. The Fortune made a terrible navigational mistake, and we were set upon by French pirates. Our poor boat finally plodded in to London, 2 months behind schedule. I have been made captain of my own boat, the William. Think of it, a boat named after me. I have just made its voyage depositing new settlers to Plymouth Plantation. As I think back, I believe I should have brought with me more food, more powder and shot, and more things for comfort. I fear the colony has given way to the influences of trade and commerce, but it has established a foothold in this new land, which will provide a foundation for unforeseen greatness. I am so honored to be recognized for this award, and I thank all of you who provided the opportunity to learn about our nation's great history. I am sad that we cannot meet together in person this year, but I wish for safety and health for all of us. Thank you.
Well, my gosh, were they not terrific? Congratulations, Delaney, Brennan, Jay, and Mason. Thank you for your excellent essays and for your interest in American history. Thank you, too, to Allie. I'm also grateful to the chapter chairs who conducted this contest on the local level. It is both challenging and rewarding to do so, and so very important. The DAR Good Citizen Award, established in 1934, recognizes outstanding young people for their civic engagement. To announce the 2020 DAR Good Citizens of the Year, please welcome Catherine McClellan, National Chair of the DAR Good Citizens Committee.
Madam President General, the DAR Good Citizen Committee is honoring 2 scholarship winners. Each of these students exemplifies the qualities of leadership, service, dependability, and patriotism. Our female winner is Maeve Catherine Lomax of Paradise Valley, Arizona. Maeve is an outstanding scholar, ranking 2nd in a class of 576. She represented Chaparral High School at the Arizona Girls State, and then was selected to represent the state of Arizona at Girls Nation in Washington, D.C. She has served as the president of the Science Olympiad team and attended the Summer Institute for Chemistry and Nanotechnology at Brown University. Maeve will be attending Washington University, St. Louis, majoring in mechanical engineering. The Grand Canyon chapter of Arizona sponsored Maeve. Madam President General, I have the honor of presenting Maeve Catherine Lomax as the female DAR Good Citizen winner.
Hello, 129th Continental Congress. My name is Maeve Lomax, and I am this year's National Female DAR Good Citizen. I am honored to receive this recognition. I want to give a special thanks to the DAR Grand Canyon chapter in Arizona, who sponsored me through this award. I am thankful for Mrs. Betty Heenan, whom I met through my participation in the Columbus Essay Contest during my junior year. She was the one who encouraged me to apply for the Good Citizens Award in the first place. And without the support of my family, friends, teachers, I would not be able to speak to you through a screen today. In December of last year, my family and I visited Washington, D.C. We made it a point to see the beautiful DAR National Headquarters complex. Although I was unable to go inside, it was amazing to be just a few steps away from the White House and to witness the profound achievements of a group of women dedicated to recognizing the heroes of the American Revolution. I wish I could be able to revisit the headquarters. I was doing some research on the national website when I came across one of the new museum exhibits dedicated to the DAR participation in World War I. In this time of crisis, DAR members rallied together to raise thousands of dollars to fund the men fighting overseas. Not only that, they volunteered their services for the Red Cross, and for foreigners too. These ladies of the DAR reminded me that even though the world appears to be in crisis, they are willing to put forth their best efforts to serve the citizens of our country and countries abroad. Even though it was over 200 years ago, I am proud to say that the ideologies of freedom, democracy, and individuality from the Revolutionary War are still ingrained in our culture today. Thanks to the DAR and its mission of service to others for the good of God and country, we citizens are reminded to be grateful for the sacrifice of those who refuse to be taxed without proper representation. Thank you.
Madam President General, our male DAR Good Citizen Scholarship winner is Theodore Anthony DeRosa of Springboro, Ohio. Theodore is an advanced placement scholar with distinction at Springboro High School. He has been a member of the high school mock trial team, the Panther Athletic Council, and attended the Henry Clay Center Statesmanship Student Congress. Through a competitive process, only 50 students nationwide were selected to attend this Congress. Theo will be attending Miami University of Ohio and majoring in diplomacy and global politics with a second major in strategic communication. The Jonathan Wright chapter of Ohio sponsored Theo. Madam President General, I have the honor of presenting Theodore Anthony DeRosa as the male DAR Good Citizen winner.
Hello, I'm honored to accept the National DAR Good Citizen Award. When I wrote my essay for this award back in the fall, I wrote about the need for Americans to regain a sense of moral responsibility, an understanding of our heritage, and a respect for the foundational values upon which our freedom stands. With the chaos unfolding in our world, I feel that this is even more relevant and crucial now than it was when I wrote it. That is why I am grateful for organizations like the Daughters of the American Revolution. In a time when our nation's discourse is dominated by cynicism, the DAR cuts through the political polarization to remind everyone of the virtues of citizenship and civility. By protecting America's history and heritage, the DAR has ensured that the torch of American freedom may be passed from one generation to the next. I remember when my mom joined the Daughters of the American Revolution. She was so excited when she made it through the process of researching her ancestry and was finally accepted as an official member. When I look back on my mom's journey to joining the DAR, and I think about the emphasis the DAR places on family ties, I am reminded of something that all Americans should remember. We live in this wonderful nation because of the courage of the generations that came before us. We owe it to our ancestors to live our lives in a way that honors their sacrifices. A great way to do this is to rejuvenate the American spirit born through the moral ideals of our founding fathers. One of my goals in life is to remind Americans of what it truly means to be an American, and this award helps me start on the path toward that goal. Once again, I am grateful and honored to be recognized as a National DAR Good Citizen. Thank you so much for this incredible opportunity.
Thank you, Maeve and Theodore. It's a pleasure to recognize your outstanding accomplishments and the qualities of a good citizen. This award is an investment in your future and that of our nation. And thank you to Catherine and to all the chapter chairs who recognize thousands of outstanding young people through this committee. Exceptional students are inspired by exceptional educators. Please welcome Historian General Laura McCrillis Kessler, herself a retired teacher, who will announce the Outstanding Teacher of American History for the year 2020.
Madam President General, inspirational, innovative, knowledgeable, and passionate are all words that describe the 2020 Outstanding Teacher of American History. Michael Lebsock teaches 7th and 8th grade humanities, which includes American history, at Meadow Park Middle School, Beaverton, Oregon, where his students don't just learn key ideas, concepts, and events of historical significance, they experience it. A recipient of numerous awards and honors for innovative teaching and a mentor to many educators, Lebsock shared, "I believe that as teachers of American history, we are charged to do all we can to help the generation of today see the relevance of America's past and to encourage them to use that understanding to shape America's future." Michael is a master teacher for the Colonial Williamsburg Teacher Institute. Tab Broyles, Director Teacher Development, said of Lebsock, "He uses primary resources and helps teachers learn ways to help students analyze documents, think critically, and draw informed conclusions about the past. He demonstrates his knowledge of American history and the ability to open doors to learning, especially with the topics of the American Revolution and the founding of our nation." Madam President General, it is my pleasure to present the 2020 Outstanding Teacher of American History, Michael Lebsock, sponsored by the Beaver Chapter and the Oregon State Society, Rebecca Taylor, State Regent.
Madam President General, it is my honor to be with you all on this historic occasion. When I was 22 years old and not yet a teacher, my grandfather said in passing, "Did you know we're related to John Adams?" At the time, I admit I knew very little about the patriot leader, founding father, and former president, and did not fully appreciate the weight of this declaration. When my career began 34 years ago, that all changed. My students reflect the diversity that is America today. Many of my students are children of immigrants and lacking connection to their new country. Each day I have the immense challenge of helping them see their role and responsibility to this great nation, to live out the very definition of the phrase, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. For my students to discover themselves in America's future meant connecting them to America's past. To do this, these students did not need history to be done to them, but with them. Over my career, I have challenged my students to experience America's history by regularly having them step into the shoes of people from our past, drawing from primary sources to reenact, to discuss, to debate, and consider America's story from the perspective of those who were there, and to see themselves as part of our story. I close by offering my immeasurable thanks to the members of the DAR Beaver Chapter and Chapter Regent Karen Wilson for sponsoring my nomination, to Oregon State Regent Rebecca Taylor and the Oregon Society Daughters of the American Revolution for selecting me to represent the great state of Oregon, and to my darling wife Amy, who is also a middle school history teacher without whose never-ending support, unwavering encouragement, and fathomless love I would not be before you now. In a letter to his wife Abigail during one of the darkest points of the Revolution, John Adams pens these words, "Posterity, you will never know how much it cost the present generation to preserve your freedom. I hope you will make good use of it. It is my hope that I have in some small measure contributed positively to the future of our country and to the legacy of my ancestor. I am your most humble servant. Thank you all."
Congratulations again, Mr. Lebstock, and all of the finalists. We wish you the best, and we appreciate your focus on the future of your students by teaching the lessons of the past. And thank you, Mrs. Kessler. Each Honorary President General has devoted many years of her life to our National Society. I am grateful for their collective dedication to the National Society and their encouragement and guidance to me personally, especially during the uncertainty of recent months. Mary Ann Wright will bring greetings on behalf of the Honorary Presidents General. Mrs. Wright.
Madam President General, on behalf of your 8 Honorary Presidents General, it is my honor to bring greetings to you and those attending this very different 129th Continental Congress. We pray that each of the attendees and their loved ones have been free of the COVID-19 virus during this trying time in our country and in the world. Madam President General, all of the members of the National Society thank you for your leadership as you and your National Board of Management have made the difficult decisions that ultimately led to this historic gathering. We look forward to participating with you while we all make history attending this visionary and seminal Continental Congress, and while we rise and shine for America.
Also honored by election for life are the Honorary Vice Presidents General, and it is a pleasure to welcome Honorary Vice President General Linda Wetzel to bring greetings on behalf of the Honorary Vice Presidents General.
Madam President General, it is an honor to bring greetings to the 129th Continental Congress from the Honorary Vice Presidents General. In these unusual circumstances, all daughters look forward to hearing what has happened in the past year. I am sure that even though we will not meet in person, that this unique Continental Congress will go down in history. We have the right person, you, Madam President General, at the right time to bring us through these unique circumstances. Madam President General, thank you for your leadership, and I am sure this Continental Congress will be a success.
Thank you, Mrs. Wright and Mrs. Wetzel. This officer will now give her report, which was recorded in advance. It seems very nearly impossible that the first full year of the Van Buren administration is nearly complete. Although the journey took many difficult and unexpected turns, daughters embraced the theme of rise and shine for America in ways that no one could likely have ever imagined when last this officer spoke from this lectern on July the 1st, 2019. She is deeply grateful to every member who carried forward our important mission, and especially so to those who served on the front lines in response to the pandemic that paralyzed our nation in recent months. COVID-19 forced us to close our buildings to the public, sent our employees home to work remotely, arrested our ability to process applications and conduct other business, reduced our income stream through the loss of revenue from event cancellations, and of course eliminated our ability to stage Continental Congress in person. It had every ability to rob us of our purpose and our passion. It had every chance to overwhelm our resolve and our determination. But the pandemic could not get the best of DAR. Through Zoom sessions and social media, through email and video chats, we connected and we carried on. We found new ways to serve too, most notably sewing nearly 500,000 pieces of personal protective equipment for our neighbors in need. While every President General is surely proud of the generation of daughters she has the privilege to serve, your 45th President General feels a special debt of gratitude for the myriad ways that today's daughters found to rise and shine for America, even in the darkest of days. Well done, ladies. Well done indeed. Now, many of the accomplishments of this administration's first year in office will be shared through the reports of the executive officers and the chairs who are participating in this, the first virtual Continental Congress conducted since our 1890 founding. Therefore, this officer will not duplicate those reports, but rather shine a light on just a few of the positive developments of the first third of our term, lest we forget that much good has been accomplished despite the national shutdown and continuing uncertainty. In September, DAR Constitution Hall was the scene of the largest naturalization ceremony ever hosted within the District of Columbia, when 1,001 new Americans were welcomed to the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. We were privileged to host them and more than 2,000 of their family members to celebrate their new status. In October, the National Society celebrated all of the women who have joined the Daughters of the American Revolution since our founding, when we welcomed our 1 millionth member into membership. A comprehensive 1 in a Million campaign honored the women past and present who have sustained our organization through the decades. Best of all, we are, of course, already working on our next million members. Also, at its October session, the National Board of Management conducted a memorial service to honor naval hero John Paul Jones before setting off to enjoy the 2019 DAR Schools Sunshine Tour. An attendance record, upwards of 400, was set as 2 buses of national leadership joined with busloads of daughters from Texas and California and were bolstered by local daughters at each stop. The delegation visited 5 schools, traveling 1,435 miles across 8 states. Each campus staged its unique variety of welcome, and each participant returned home with an increased appreciation for the impact that our daughters make on the education of young people. In February, your President General was pleased to emcee a constitutional conversation here in DAR Constitution Hall with Judge Douglas H. Ginsburg of the U.S. Court of Appeals, D.C. Circuit, and host of the 3-part PBS miniseries, A More or Less Perfect Union. Sharing the stage of a building dedicated to the most brilliant governance document in the history of mankind, it was a privilege indeed to discuss the marvels of the U.S. Constitution with our distinguished guest. In March, the National Society staged its first formal event to mark the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution with a dinner and ceremony in recognition of the 1770 Boston Massacre, an incendiary event that escalated tensions with the British. More than 200 participants honored the memory of the victims buried in the Granary Burying Ground and enjoyed a tour of Boston's historic downtown as we joined to salute those who won American independence. In April, the Executive Committee authorized a $100,000 sponsorship of the National World War I Memorial being built here in Washington, D.C., as we concluded our Society's commemoration to mark the centennial of that war to end all wars. It was a pleasure for this officer to begin the tradition of visiting our wonderful states to meet the vibrant women who fulfill the promise we make to both our patriot ancestors and to our own descendants. To be so warmly welcomed in Iowa, Oklahoma, Michigan, Alabama, Mississippi, and Texas was heartwarming. It was heartbreaking to share the disappointment of daughters in Arkansas, Louisiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Missouri, Tennessee, Illinois, Kansas, Minnesota, and Indiana when the pandemic forced the cancellation of their spring 2020 conferences. It is hoped that your President General will be able to visit these states before the end of this administration. It is a joyful obligation she looks very much forward to fulfilling in the remaining 2 years of the term. As the first Blue Star mother to serve as President General, it is exceptionally rewarding to report that DAR members supported our active duty military personnel by assisting sailors aboard the Eisenhower Carrier Group, armed forces traveling through the Middle East, and many other projects. Thank you, daughters, for remembering our men and women in uniform, as well as our veterans. Hundreds of chapters took part in wreaths across America, honor flights, and ceremonies to salute Vietnam veterans in honor of the continuing 50th anniversary of that war. There are no words to adequately capture this officer's appreciation to the staff of the NSDIR headquarters, who are so capably led by Administrator Stephen Nordholt. Though we are a volunteer-driven membership organization, our permanent employees execute much of our day-to-day activity, from processing applications to providing security, from fulfilling DAR store orders to staging DAR museum exhibits, from shelving the DAR library to running DAR Constitution Hall. These are the professionals who ensure that our organization functions. We are grateful for their dedication to our mission. Highlights of the last year here at 1776 D Street include Phase 3 of the restoration of DAR Constitution Hall was launched ahead of schedule. It is the largest President General's project undertaking in the Society's history and is now expected to cost more than $10 million. While we cannot currently hold a mass gathering here, the construction work was allowed to progress. We look forward to the easing of restrictions as we were fortunate to rebook several spring events to the fall months in order to make up for lost revenues. This restoration progress is possible due to the generous support of donors who will be recognized on Saturday afternoon. Nearly 400 women have thus far contributed as benefactors and more than 115 as Van Buren Patriots. A total of 2,022 seats were adopted as part of our Giving Tuesday campaign, and nearly 7,000 generous members are now part of the Sustaining Supporter Program that makes possible so much of our progress. To all of the chapters who have already fulfilled their commitment to the project, thank you for your support. And to all of the donors who have thus far starred in the next act, this officer is exceptionally grateful. As its former editor-in-chief, your President General is exceptionally pleased to share that the May-June 2020 issue of our DAR magazine was mailed to 49,921 subscribers, a record since the launch of American Spirit in 2001. We are confident that we will roll over that elusive 50,000 subscription level during 2020, recognizing the strong content we continue to deliver within a beautiful layout. For the 17th year in a row, American Spirit was honored in the Awards for Publication Excellence, or APEX, recognition competition. The entire January-February 2019 edition received an Award of Excellence, as did the story Stage Revival in the feature writing category from the July-August 2018 issue. Progress continued on the development of the DAR Insignia store, details of which will be shared later this evening. Regrettably, the pandemic closed manufacturing facilities, severely reducing our inventory. And uncertainty regarding the ability of staff to return to our headquarters has further complicated the fulfillment of orders. This officer requests your patience and understanding as we work to the best of our ability to get this effort back on track toward full operation. The DAR Library conducted its first comprehensive inventory in many years, accounting for more than 125,000 titles in the last year. The library welcomed nearly 5,000 visitors in person last year and more than 61,000 online. The DAR Museum, meanwhile, continued to engage the public with its educational programming. The National Society issued $293,000 in academic scholarships after successfully implementing online applications. The Information Systems team implemented a new server that enabled our employees to work remotely. The team also upgraded the Society's internet service to allow a threefold increase in bandwidth capacity. Here in DAR Constitution Hall, the Gershwin Award for Popular Song filmed its 6th consecutive ceremony. This year's show featured Garth Brooks and was aired nationally on PBS. Our entire complex remained a popular film location with CBS, HBO, Netflix, Showtime, and Good Morning America all recording here. The Office of the Organizing Secretary General joyfully assisted with organization of 14 new chapters of the DAR in the last year, but regrettably disbanded 13 others and merged 14 more. States and chapters will continue to be encouraged to seek out potential locations for chapters, and large chapters will be encouraged to assist in the sponsoring of new chapters where they can be supported. This is not only helping to welcome more members to our work, but also strengthening our society. DAR is a membership organization based upon genealogical qualification. The very foundation of our existence is based upon our ability to review and approve new member and supplemental applications. The genealogy department's productivity was particularly impacted by the pandemic restrictions, as its ability to review papers remotely was limited. Members have my assurance that we will return to full productivity just as soon as restrictions are fully lifted, but continued patience is requested. The National Society had been making remarkable progress on the review and approval of applications, reaching a turnaround of as few as 3 weeks from initial receipt. This officer remains steadfast in her belief that the genealogy department will come back stronger than before once its devoted employees return to the building. She is also convinced that the same will be said of DAR once we exit the great pandemic of 2020 to fully re-embrace our mission and our love of country. One message to every daughter watching tonight: spread the spirit of DAR by encouraging others to join our patriotic sisterhood. Let us leave a legacy from the pandemic that we increased our membership to welcome more women to our vital work. We are the descendants of those who walked barefoot at Valley Forge, are we not? So can we do it? Of course we can. Finally, a note of appreciation to those who join us online this evening. Deciding whether to conduct the 129th Continental Congress was, quite honestly, excruciating. In the end, the health and safety of our members was the deciding factor. Following the May 1 announcement of the decision to conduct this historic first virtual Congress, hundreds of members reached out to express their support and their enthusiasm. This officer was so grateful for that outpouring and that confidence. She is equally delighted to see our members embracing technology to ensure that the work of DAR endures. Thank you for rising and shining to show the world the lasting and the relevant impact of today's DAR. And poof, here I am in my evening formals. The first Vice President General, Pamela Rouse-Wright, will report on the activities of her office. Mrs. Wright.
Madam President General, thank you for your inspirational report and many efforts ensuring that we make history with this 129th Continental Congress. The virtual applause of our members around the world truly expresses their appreciation for all you do for our national society. You are indeed our sunshine, and we love you. The Society's first Vice President General serves as liaison to the following committees: Americanism, Continental Congress, National Defense, and Long Range Planning. Congratulations to the national chairs and committee members for their outstanding work. This officer has the pleasure of serving as the national chair of the Human Resources Committee and works closely with the HR department, overseeing our 149-person staff. 28 employees have been hired since June, including the DAR Insignia Director, 2 rehires, and 5 promoted from within. Employee training and recognition programs continue to be an important priority with online classes and in-house workshops. The National Society celebrated 19 employees who completed from 5 to 45 years of service for a combined total of 300 years. Each received a certificate, photo with the President General, a delicious luncheon, and gift of their choice. Congratulations to Carol Lee Walker in the Office of the Corresponding Secretary General for her 45 years of service to DAR. We celebrate our employees with pizza lunches, a picnic after Congress, a holiday party with gifts, and other events throughout the year. On Veterans Day, staff wrote letters to active service members and veterans. A comprehensive evaluation and update of the Employee Policy Manual was completed. This update made the manual legally compliant with policies matching our current practices. Special recognition goes to the HR staff, Patricia Breitner, Director, HR coordinators Olivia Manson and Renee Sullivan, and Administrator Steve Nordholt. Many thanks to Edith Rianzaris for her assistance with the new handbook and updated bylaws that will be available later this year when printing and shipping delays ease. Madam President General, the HR department works diligently to ensure DAR is the very best place to work in the District of Columbia as we rise and shine for America. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela, for your report. The Chaplain General, Pamela Peterson-Bork, will report. Mrs. Bork.
Madam President General, it is inspiring to know that so many chapters hold memorial services and grave markings, send birthday get well and sympathy cards, visit shut-ins, and have begun holding memorial services honoring patriot ancestors. Thank you to the chaplains who sent birthday greeting requests for daughters who are 90, 100, and 100 plus years young. The Chaplains General have sent 577 birthday cards this past year, 304 by this Chaplain General, including one for a 109-year-old lady. Condolence cards were sent to family members of deceased daughters, and get well cards were sent when requested. Chapter and state chaplains have been asked to submit prayers to this officer for a new prayer collection to be available on the Chaplain General's website. It was a joy to visit New Hampshire, Trish Jackson, State Regent, in August to deliver the address Blessings of Family at the 72nd Annual DAR service at the Cathedral of the Pines. During the October board meeting, this officer was pleased to participate in the wreath-laying service for honoring John Paul Jones. Following the October board, this officer participated in the National School Bus Tour and was honored to offer invocations, prayers, table blessings, and benedictions when asked. During the tour, the NSDAR Day of Prayer was celebrated on October 13th. In December, it was a delight to participate in the DAR Open House, the employee gift distribution, and the holiday party. This officer had made plans to place wreaths at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington in April and at the gravesite of George and Martha Washington in June 2020. However, these events are now scheduled to take place in October. The Chaplain General offers scripture and invocations, table blessings, and other prayers as needed for the Executive Committee and National Board of Management meetings, and other prayers as the need arises. Our President General has begun a wonderful new tradition of meeting in the beautiful and inspiring Kansas Chapel for scripture and the invocation preceding the formal sessions of the Executive Board. It is a joy to be the executive liaison for the following national committees: Commemorative Events, Betty Byrd, National Chair; Constitution Week, Holly Stone Blair, National Chair; Junior American Citizens, Kimberly Zeman, National Chair; and Karen Gerard, Protocol, National Chair. These ladies exemplify how to rise and shine for America with enthusiasm and dedication. Thank you to Edith Rianzaris, Director of Printing and Publications, and Victor Kunze, Director of Information Systems, who have helped with the duties of this office. Thank you, Madam President General, for the opportunity and privilege of serving the National Society as we rise and shine for America.
Thank you, Pamela. Next, the Recording Secretary General, Peggy Carney-Troxell, will provide her report. Mrs. Troxell.
Madam President General, the Office of the Recording Secretary General is pleased to report the highlights of its activities during this past year. The office has prepared and distributed notices of meetings of the Executive Committee, National Board of Management, and National Society. Prepared and permanently archived Executive Committee minutes. Prepared and provided to the membership the National Board of Management minutes through an abbreviated version in the Daughter's newsletter and a complete version available on the DAR members' website. The office compiled and published the annual proceedings of the 128th Continental Congress for submission to the Smithsonian Institute in compliance with our Act of Incorporation. The office administered the monthly electronic voting actions taken to the National Board of Management by the Office of the Registrar General and the Office of the Organizing Secretary General, as well as the emergency votes taken necessary to conduct business during the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to adding the rulings to the searchable database, Updates have been completed to better reflect where attachments to motions are located within the database. Endorsements of candidates for the office of Vice President General were filed with the office. Instructions for candidates for national office were revised and distributed, and the drawing for ballot placement administered. After installation, the newly elected Honorary Vice President, Vice Presidents General, State Regents, and State Vice Regents will receive their commission certificates prepared by this office. This officer assisted in the completion of the National Information Packet and the Chapter Master Report. In addition to assisting with the task of the office, she attended all meetings of the Executive Board, National Board of Management, and Investment Committee, including the first electronic meetings held in the history of the National Society. Staff members essential to this office are Rebecca Crothers, Administrative Coordinator, Edith Renanzares, Director of Printing and Publications, Victor Kunze, Director of Information Systems, and Amanda DiFrancesco, Communications Coordinator. This officer could not function without their wisdom, patience, and guidance. It has been a pleasure to work closely with National Parliamentarian Linda Surt, as well as with the national chairs for whom this officer is Executive Liaison: Anna Choi, Bylaws; Zia Lowe, Conservation; Morgan Lake, DAR Schools; Virginia Lingelbach, DAR Tours; and Mary Tedesco, Service to America. Serving as minute approvers during the 129th Continental Congress are Dawn Lemongello, Marcy Kimino, and Tammy Clemens. Madam President General, the Office of the Recording Secretary General stands ready to help our members rise and shine during your Sunshine Administration.
Thank you, Peggy. Allow me to present the corresponding Secretary General, Catherine Walker West, who will now report. Mrs. West.
Madam President General, the Office of the Corresponding Secretary General has been completely transformed over the past 12 months. The shopping experience at the DAR store has been upgraded, both technically and physically. The new online shopping platform is robust, and while it was acquired to support the insignia operation, it also supports the DAR store and the DAR museum shop. Gift certificates are now available. Physically, the DAR store relocated immediately across from the elevator in the lower level, and in the process created a retail environment that enhances the shopping experience. While migration of technology platforms and physical space were taking place, the staff, under the leadership of Carol Lee Walker, DAR store manager, kept the operation, to include the mailroom, up and running. Since the beginning of this administration, over 12,000 orders were processed by the DAR store, involving 312,000 items, which generated nearly $1 million in sales revenue. The spring selling season, typically a robust time for sales, was decimated due to the cancellation of state conferences. While the pandemic slowed the output, it could not stop it. It is a great joy to announce that the DAR Insignia Store, led by Denise San Marco, DAR Insignia Store Director, is ready for business. Newly hired staff members began their time with DAR only weeks before the mayor's orders to stay home were issued. All were productive as they worked to populate the database, upload images, create marketing materials, and learn policies and procedures using the foundational work prepared by the incredible Insignia Task Force, Dr. Sherry Edwards, chair. The DAR Insignia store staff learned about each of the pins in the portfolio to understand the requirements for eligibility. What could not be controlled was the closure of manufacturing facilities that are used to support the production of pins and ribbons. When stay-at-home orders were received by the manufacturer, DAR pins were left in the middle of production. Close coordination is in place with the manufacturers, and the team looks forward to having the full complement of pins available for purchase. Madam President General, both the DAR store and the DAR Insignia store staffs will rise to the challenge of new operations and systems and shine as they provide excellent customer service to our members.
Thank you, Catherine. As you are aware, voters at last year's Continental Congress approved the creation of an in-house DAR insignia store, which will be managed through the office of the corresponding Secretary General. While we are disappointed that pandemic-related manufacturing delays have reduced our planned inventory, we are delighted that the exciting new online DAR store will open for business tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Here's a short video about this exciting new venture, with its proceeds benefiting the work of the National Society.
Greetings. I have transported you here to my office at 1776 D Street. A lot of activity occurred in this office and elsewhere during the course of the last year in order to implement our DAR insignia store. It, of course, resulted from the fact that last year's Congress approved a measure to bring DAR insignia sales in-house, affording us an opportunity to use the proceeds from those sales to benefit our mission-driven work. We've had a task force that hit the ground running. They developed a plan and executed on it well. And then the pandemic struck. Our American-made manufacturers were impacted by that pandemic, shut down in most locations, and regrettably, at the time I taped this segment, the District of Columbia still had not given us a green light to bring our own employees back in the building to be able to fulfill orders. So I hope that you will be patient as we work to bolster our inventory. I hope you will understand that we will fulfill orders as soon as we are able. But what I really want you to have is a sense of excitement for being part of something historic. I'm also delighted to share with you the inaugural pin in the series and our beautiful packaging in our box that your beautiful pins will arrive in. It's a delight to share that the very first pin that we will produce, and it is marked as our inaugural pin, is in fact the President General's pin for this administration. So I hope that you will rise, that you will shine, that you will wear this with pride on your official DAR ribbon. Been able to make as much progress as we have due to the fact that we have hired a great team here at our headquarters. They are led by Denise Samarco, who is a retail professional, and I'd like to introduce you to Denise so she can tell you more about our exciting operations, including the fact that we are going to launch this historic DAR insignia online store at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Hi, Mrs. Van Buren. It will be my pleasure to share with you some of the work that's been going on here at headquarters and with the staff who are working remotely. We've partnered with American manufacturers, designed custom packaging, and developed a state-of-the-art e-commerce platform. We even have dedicated member service associates to assist you with your purchases. I would love to introduce you to the staff, but because of DC's reopening status, they're all still working from home. I can show you one of the coolest things here. We have an on-site engraving machine that will soon allow us to offer custom engraving on your insignia purchases. Now that you've seen a little bit of the space, I hope you're just as excited about the launch as I am. See you tomorrow.
How's that for a little sunshine? I hope that you will be patient as we work through COVID-related manufacturing delays. We're proud of what our task force has accomplished in the last year, and we're hopeful that additional supplies will arrive in coming months and that restrictions will be lifted here in the District of Columbia that will allow our employees to return to our headquarters to fulfill orders. Now back to the other executive reports. The Organizing Secretary General, Virginia Sebastian Storage, has also been quite busy, and she will share the highlights of her office. Mrs. Storage.
Madam President General, the Office of the Organizing Secretary General is our headquarters' busiest department. Our staff, led by the outstanding department manager, Tania Tatum, is always available by phone, email, or in person. But please remember, so many of your needs can be met online via e-membership. The office is responsible for member records, dues payments, credentials processing, magazine subscriptions, PIN authorizations, chapter formation and disbandment, and tenure certificates. Dues collection is always the busiest time of year. Thank you to those chapters and members who met the payment deadlines. The staff processed dues for 181,351 members in 2,713 chapters and 4,594 members at large. Welcoming new chapters is one of the most rewarding functions of this officer's responsibilities. 14 chapters were organized during the past year, with 10 still pending. 13 chapters were disbanded and 14 chapters were merged. Early in DAR's history, our members started new chapters as a means of increasing membership. This strategy is just as important today. Organizing new chapters to meet the growing needs of our prospective and current membership is an outstanding way to rise and shine for America. 29,609 official pins and insignia were processed through Pin Express during this reporting period. This officer and staff have worked closely with the Insignia Task Force to ensure a smooth launch for our Insignia store operations. For the very first time, chapter credentials for this Continental Congress were emailed to chapter regents who then could complete them online. Special thanks to Tania Tatum and Victor Kunze for working to accomplish this task. Of course, membership continues to be a significant focus for this officer. Since the beginning of the year, almost 6,000 women have dropped or resigned. It is critically important that we reach out to these ladies and determine why DAR no longer meets their needs. Significant work goes into getting a new member. Let's not just let them go away so easily. As of the end of May, we have 185,945 members. To put this in perspective, in the last 40 years, our highest membership was in 1984 when we had 204,000 members, and our lowest was in 2006 when we had about 164,000. If we are going to reach our goal of 200,000 members before the end of this administration, all members must be committed to recruiting, retaining, and reinstating. Madam President General, thank you for your steadfast leadership during this extraordinary time. It is a privilege to serve the National Society.
Thank you, Ginny. The next report is that of the Treasurer General, and I will note that earlier notification of the Treasurer General's report was provided to delegates and to other voters electronically. It was also posted on the Congress information page. Treasurer General Dawn Crumbly Lemongello will provide that report. Mrs. Lemongello.
Madam President General, traditionally, the Treasurer General's report covers the audited financials for the previous calendar year. For this report, January 1st through December 31st of 2019. However, with the COVID-19 pandemic, this officer realizes that many members are concerned with the Society's current financial well-being. We in DAR walk amongst the blessed, having had some superb leadership since the last financial crisis in 2008, from Presidents General to Finance and Investment Committees, as well as the staff within our Society, keeping watch stewards of the Society's money. Perhaps more so due to the generosity of our members who, through sustaining support, donations through the various programs, and their bequests, we have been provided with enough funds that we have been able to invest wisely and in such a way that we are not only able to weather the current worldwide financial storm, but we are able to continue providing scholarships and awards and other such giving, the things that make us feel good and meet our mission of historic preservation, education, and patriotism. The year 2019 was an amazing year in the stock market. Obviously, this economic downturn has concerned us all. The Finance and Investment Committees have been diligent, meeting frequently to go over the Society's finances and investments, and even after the losses from 2020, we are still in a stronger position than we were at the end of 2018. This officer wanted to make all of this perfectly clear before she moved into the Treasurer's General report that covers 2019. This women's organization, founded by women and run by women, is weathering this financial crisis very well. This officer believes that our foremothers would be proud, or then again, perhaps, they would expect nothing less. If you would please open the report of the Treasurer General to the 129th Continental Congress received in your Congress email and turn to page 2, we will begin. Please remember this covers the audited financials of the 2019 calendar year. Page 2 is the statement of financial position, which shows our current assets, fixed assets, investments, and liabilities at year end. I am pleased to announce we have an increase of our total liabilities and net assets of $184,561,189, with $109,642,900 restricted. Speaking in rounded numbers, our net assets at year end totaled nearly $180.8 million, and of that, over $71.1 million is unrestricted and over $109.6 million restricted, which is an increase of $32,689,896 on an all funds basis from 2018. All funds basis includes restricted and unrestricted funds. Turning to page 3, this is the statement of activity. This shows the activities, revenue, expenses, and change to net assets. Speaking once again in rounded numbers, in the third column, the totals, total revenue and support is just over $27 million, which is down from 2018 by $270,825. Below that is expenses. And subtracting expenses from total revenue and support gives us a change in net assets of nearly $6.8 million. Add to that our gains, which is our investment return designated for endowments, and we have a total net change of just over $26 million. Columns 1 and 2 are further breakdowns of totals, broken down by with donor restrictions and without. Our change in net assets of operations, plus our total change in net assets added to our beginning net assets from 2019, gives us our total net assets of $180,766,146, which is what we started with on page 2. Pages 4 through 6 is the schedule of designated and restricted net assets. As Treasurer General, this is where this officer spends much of her time. There are the numbers which the officer is constantly analyzing and understanding. Page 7 is what happens from an accounting standpoint for our Congresses. Page 8 is the schedule of Constitution Hall activity. We do rent our home, and this is an accounting for it. Page 9 is the schedule of DAR magazine and publications activity. And page 10 is the schedule of state contributions. Find your state. Find out what your state is doing. Page 11 is chapter achievement allocation. You wonder where your chapter money goes for chapter achievement. Wonder no more. Turn to page 11 to look at that. Last but not least, starting at page 13, is the notes to the financial statements and supplemental schedules. There is something in this report for everyone. Please read it. This is your DAR. Understand where your money goes. The investment committee regularly reviews our portfolio. The year-end market value for our portfolio was $85,135,207.78. Guardian Trust money is invested in its own account, and its year-end market value was $7,117,998.59. This officer is a liaison to 2 administrative committees, Audit, chaired by past Treasurer General Martha Barnhart, and Finance, chaired by Dr. Sherry Edwards. Both of these committees work tirelessly for the financial well-being for our society. The audit literally just finished. There was always high pressure to get these numbers before Congress. Also, the finances are keeping everyone busy right now. We are in good hands. This officer is also the liaison for Chapter Achievement, Chair Susan Holt, and Volunteer Information Specialist, also known as VIS, Chair Jan Jean-Pierre. Both of these women deserve tremendous accolades for not only the many hours required for their jobs, but in their tremendous professionalism and positive attitudes. A shout out to the VIS team as well for all they have done for Continental Congress Online. The accounting and business offices under the Treasurer also fall under the Treasurer General, headed by Controller Hart Franco. This is the staff responsible for paying bills, keeping a day-to-day eye on our investments and budget, paying the payroll, working through the audit, which is a multi-month event, making the deposits, direct payment, and the list continues. This officer feels blessed every day to work with them. The Information Systems Department, Victor Kunze, Director, also falls under the Treasurer General. Kudos to Victor and his people, as they've been monumental in getting the DAR staff to be able to work from home during this pandemic, while assisting our President General and having our first ever exec session done completely remote. The successes of the IS department are extensive, including redeveloping and enhancing a 20-year magazine advertising management software, installing 2 new virtual servers and 46 laptops and desktops, and adding 5 new Wi-Fi antennas to expand coverage throughout the DAR complex, to list a small part of what was accomplished in 2019. Both these departments are the quiet unsung heroes of DAR. They are doing some heavy lifting for our society. Madam President General, it has been an honor and a privilege to serve as Treasurer General during this administration as we rise and shine for America. Thank you.
I thank you, Dawn. Should there be any questions concerning this report, please feel free to contact the Office of the Treasurer General. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Chair of the Auditing Committee, Martha Barnhart, for her report. Mrs. Barnhart.
Madam President General, The Auditing Committee met with representatives from Clifton Larson Allen CLA firm for a pre-audit conference call on March 27, 2020, and again following the audit on June 16, 2020, with a report to the Executive Committee on June 18, 2020. The Auditing Committee members are this chair and National Vice Chairs Lauren Hill of New York, Gina LaCroix of Michigan, Margaret Smith of North Carolina, and Nancy Watkins of Florida. The CLA firm audited the financial statements and related statements of activities, functional expenses, and cash flows, and the related notes to the financial statements of NSDAR for the period of December 31st, 2018 through December 31st, 2019. The audit was conducted to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. This includes evaluating the appropriateness of accounting policies used, as well as evaluation of the overall presentation of financial statements and risk assessment. The opinion of the Clifton Larson Allen audit is that the financial statements present fairly in all material aspects the financial position of the NSDAR as of December 31st, 2019 and 2018, the changes in its net assets and its cash flows for the year then ended are in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This is considered an unmodified opinion, the highest form of assurance for a set of financial reports, often referred to as a clean opinion. This chair applauds the effectiveness of Controller Hart Franco, CPA, and accounting department staff, and the auditors who successfully met the requirements needed to complete the audit during this unprecedented time of working from home while the offices were essentially closed. Madam President General, I move the adoption of the Audit Committee report for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2019.
Thank you, Mrs. Barnhart. It is moved to adopt the Audit Committee report for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. Delegates were given the opportunity, as stated in the standing rules, to submit germane discussion amendments in writing by June 20th, 2020. A dedicated email inbox monitored by the Recording Secretary General and the National Parliamentarian was created to allow delegates to offer such amendments and to participate in discussion of pending motions as necessary. The motion to adopt the Audit Committee report for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019 will be on the ballot for a vote on Saturday, June the 27th, 2020. It has certainly been an interesting year from a financial perspective. The chair of the Finance Committee, Sherry Edwards, will provide her report. Dr. Edwards.
Madam President General, the Finance Committee recommends a budget for the National Society to the Executive Committee and the National Board of Management after scrutinizing the staff's proposed budget and making any needed adjustments. It monitors revenue and expense developments throughout the year, especially for unrestricted financial activity, which carries no donor-imposed restrictions. The budget for 2019 at the left expected unrestricted expenses to exceed unrestricted revenue and to result in a deficit of $153,000. The outcome shown at the right was much better. The National Society had an unrestricted operating surplus of $1.1 million. Member-related revenue was greater than expected, while most expense categories were well below budget. The positive financial developments in 2019 continue a trend of strong financial performance. The National Society has been working diligently in recent years to save for a so-called rainy day, a time when a major asset must be replaced. The chart plots the National Society's savings, called unrestricted net assets, as a percentage of expenses. The chart shows that this percentage has been rising steadily and, at the end of 2019, stood at 170%. NSDAR has enough savings to more than cover 1 year's worth of expenses. It is well positioned to weather pandemic-related financial disruptions. This chair thanks the hardworking members of her committee, Treasurer General Dawn Lemongello, Vice Chair Paula Osborne, and members Claudia Onken and Lisa O'Brien. She is grateful for the outstanding support of Controller Hart Franco and Administrator Steve Nordholt. Madam President General, the Finance Committee is delighted to rise and shine for America in your administration.
Thank you, Sherry. Now please welcome Registrar General Pat Miller-McFall. Mrs. McFall.
Madam President General, the statistics for the first year of the Van Buren administration are as follows. June 2019 to February 2020. New member applications received 9,632. New member applications verified 10,545. Supplemental applications received 4,992. Supplemental applications verified 5,500. March 2020 to May 2020. New member applications received 1,199. New member applications verified 1,140. Supplemental applications received 506. Supplemental applications verified 892. These statistics indicate early on we were on a clear path to a record-breaking year. The Genealogy Department had a 3-week turnaround for verification and set a 15-year record of applications verified. With additions to staff, progress was being made in turnaround time for supplementals. Despite the closure, it's been a productive year for the Office of the Registrar General. Highlights include this officer participated in a pilot program for state mid-level review of supplementals and continued the bi-monthly blog for state and chapter registrars. Innovations from the Genealogy Department led to the new free registrar training course. Additional information was gathered for residence and service for the states of Maryland, Virginia, New York, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. On spreadsheets, this information will be invaluable to the verification process. Submission of the e-application has greatly increased. A new African American resource guide is being developed for in-house use. More than 100 requests for correction of ancestor vital and service data were reviewed. This resulted in the authentication or correction of patriot profiles in the ancestor database of the GRS, and verification and/or correction of information found on dozens of flagged patriots, such as those coded treat as new ancestor. Genie clips were created on topics of e-applications and Revolutionary War soldiers service. GEP classes were transferred to the new and improved platform bridge. A service resource for Long Island was created. The new legacy program was rolled out. Madam President General, it is an honor to serve our chapter registrars and those who assist them in the Van Buren administration.
Thank you, Pat. Please welcome back to our virtual platform the Historian General for her report. Mrs. Kessler.
Madam President General, the Office of the Historian General grants permission to place markers at graves of Revolutionary War soldiers, patriots, wives, daughters, and real daughters, as well as at historical and commemorative sites, administers the DAR History Award Medal, and the annual NSDAR Outstanding Teacher of American History Contest, and maintains the Americana Collection, the NSDAR Archives, the DAR Historical Research Library, and the special collection pertaining to the history of the NSDAR. 38 states submitted state winner dossiers for the Outstanding Teacher of American History Contest. The national winner, Michael Lebsock of Oregon, will be honored during Education Awards Night, June 25, 2020. This officer encourages every state to participate in this recognition program for America's outstanding teachers. The NSDAR Excellence in American History Book Award recognized the award-winning publication, The British Are Coming, The War for America, Lexington to Princeton, 1775 to 1777. Pulitzer Prize historian and author Rick Atkinson accepted this award during the opening night ceremonies of the 129th Continental Congress. During this reporting period, the Office of the Historian General received 163 Revolutionary War marker applications, of which 149 were approved, and 76 historical commemorative marker applications, of which 73 were approved. 4 DAR History Award medal applications were approved. Highlights from the archivists and historians include attending the Society of American Archivists annual meeting in Austin, Texas, and producing a book titled Ordinary Equality, DAR Members and the Road to Women's Suffrage, 1890 to 1920. Noteworthy additions to the Americana collection and the NSDAR archives include 6 boxes of materials from the estate of Honorary President General Anne D. Fleck. As we shine the light on our patriots during the Rise and Shine Van Buren administration, 2 wreath-laying ceremonies were conducted. American Revolutionary War and Naval War hero John Paul Jones was honored at the October 2019 event in Potomac Park, Washington, D.C. And a March 5, 2020 ceremony, remembering the 5 victims of the Boston Massacre, took place at the Granary Burying Ground, Boston, Massachusetts. These ceremonies were planned and prepared by this officer. This officer is the executive liaison to the following national committees: American History, Community Classroom, DAR Good Citizens, and Historic Preservation. Thank you to each of these committees' national chairs for their hard work and dedication. Appreciation is expressed to the dedicated and professional staff of the Office of the Historian General. Director of Archives and History, Tracy Robinson, Archivist Joy O'Donnell and Amanda Vasquez, and historians Genevieve Shashank and Brianna Zeppa. Madam President General, it is an honor and a pleasure to serve the National Society under your inspirational leadership as we rise and shine for America.
Thank you, Laura. The Librarian General, Cynthia Brown Sweeney, will report on the duties of her office and the DAR Library. Mrs. Sweeney.
Madam President General, this Librarian General is honored to shine the light on the DAR Library. Appreciation is extended to her predecessor, the 2016-2019 Librarian General, Patricia Musick Hatfield. The continued endeavors of the DAR Library were accomplished by Dr. Stephanie Tazinski, Library Director, and the entire library staff, to whom this national officer expresses deep gratitude. This staff has made great strides. With the addition of the microfilm inventory in October, the library inventory was completed with 125,247 physical titles and 20,892 digital titles. The expansion of the GRC assistant to become a digital projects manager indicated the library's shift to focus more on online resources and to streamline the user experience. There were 61,568 website visitors. The online lecture series added research around the states, New York, and exploring your roots, organizing and getting started. The DAR Library was able to rise and shine with generous donations from state societies, chapters, and 387 sustaining supporters. Donations included Friends of Signs, $25,770, Friends of the DAR Library, $297,398, DAR Library Fund, $31,368. 1,242 books were donated. Revenue included photocopies, $28,005, record copies, $7,066, research fees, $3,360. It has been a pleasure to serve as the executive liaison to the following committees: Children of the American Revolution, Norma Griffin National Chair; DAR Magazine, Aubrey Williams National Chair; Genealogical Records Committee, Nancy Ball National Chair; Literacy Promotion, Alice Miles National Chair; and Patriot Records Project, Gail Terry National Chair. Appreciation is given to each for her dedication and outstanding work. A new venture for the DAR Library was the addition of the DAR Book Club, which was able to shine with 2 books: Rush, Revolution, Madness, and Benjamin Rush, the visionary doctor who became a founding father, by Stephen Fried, and Jefferson's Daughters, 3 Sisters, White and Black, in a Young America by Catherine Carrison. Both authors were guests at the DAR Book Club. Madam President General, it has been an honor, a privilege, and a joy to serve with you as we rise and shine for America.
Thank you, Cindy. The DAR Museum is a source of pride for all daughters. Curator General Janet Luty Whittington will report on its activities. Mrs. Whittington.
Madam President General, it is a joy to report to you that our DAR Museum has been most successful under the Rise and Shine administration. Chief Curator Heidi Campbell-Schoaf and our museum staff have shared our beautiful collection with over 15,000 in-person visitors this year. We welcome new staff members, Rebecca Quam, Curator of Educational Outreach, and Sydney Holdren, Museum Gift Shop Associate. Our museum is famous in the Federal District for its creative and exciting special events. In addition to our ongoing, long-time popular Tuesday Talks, this year our museum has reached out to and thrilled some 3,000 visitors at a period tea, our annual always sold out Antique Symposium, the DAR Museum World's Fair, a wildly popular Murder in the Museum Mystery Evening, and the Christmas Open House. On March 6th, a new exhibit opened titled Illuminating Design, the Decoration and Technology of E.F. Caldwell and Company, 1895 to 1959. This exhibition explores the relation of technology to art and uses lighting both from our own buildings and other great landmarks to develop this theme. Thanks to the generosity of our daughters, many wonderful items were added to our collection this year. A complete list of our gifts and acquisitions will be found in the print version of this report. But without any doubt, one acquisition was the most exciting of the year. In October 2019, the Executive Committee approved the purchase of the Wall Morris bookcase and desk. This desk and bookcase, made between 1755 and 1780, represents a tour de force of Rococo carving popular in Philadelphia at the time. Made from mahogany, the top is decorated with a broken, scrolled pediment ended in carved floral roundels. It is remarkable that it still retains its original central cartouche and flame urn finials. Made for the Quaker Waln family, it has descended in unbroken succession through the related families of Captain Samuel Morris and Robert Morris, sometimes called the financier of the American Revolution. Currently on display in the main floor gallery, we are extremely proud to possess this very important object. The museum and its energetic and creative staff have more than satisfied its directive to collect, preserve, exhibit, and interpret the material, culture, and social history of our nation. The Rise and Shine administration can be very proud of its support of the DAR Museum. Thank you, Madam President General, for this opportunity to serve our society.
Thank you, Janet. The final report of our executive officers, please welcome Reporter General Cynthia Moody Parnell. Mrs. Parnell.
Madam President General, the Office of the Reporter General has been an important support department for DAR committees since its creation in 1974. Last year, the office processed 175 new VAVS representative and deputy appointments, along with 210 reappointments. The office also processed 14 Founders Medals and the input and distribution of almost 9,000 certificates of appreciation. DAR committees relied on the office to organize and distribute award material, including 9 Americanism Medals, 26 Medals of Honor, 46 Conservation Awards, and 27 Historic Preservation Awards. A time-honored tradition in DAR is the presentation of our annual proceedings to the Smithsonian Institution. Service achievements in historic preservation, education, and patriotism are highlighted in the proceedings and are forwarded by the Smithsonian to the United States Congress. The office was also instrumental in the development, implementation, and processing of the Academic Works online scholarship system. This program supported 7,226 applications for 83 national scholarships. The program list for committees and chapters was updated in the DAR member website. 155 programs highlighting the DAR mission are now available in digital format. This officer has the honor to serve as Executive Liaison to National Committee Chairs Lynn Forney-Young, America 250 Committee, Diana Calloway, American Heritage Committee, Suzanne Heskey, American Indians Committee, Barbara Grant, DAR Scholarship Committee, and Kim Varney Chandler, Public Relations and Media Committee. I offer thanks to them and staff members Lakeisha Graham and Valerie Holmes for their continued dedication and commitment. Madam President General, it is an honor to serve the Van Buren administration.
Thank you, Cynthia. This concludes the reports of our executive officers. Please express your appreciation to these remarkable executive officers for their devotion to the National Society and their hours of volunteer work. What is that? I'm sure I heard thunderous applause, and I thank you. The chair recognizes the National Parliamentarian Linda Sert, PRP, who will report. Mrs. Sert.
Madam President General, the National Parliamentarian is appointed by the President General with the approval of the Executive Committee to serve as a parliamentary consultant to the executive officers, members of the National Board of Management, national chairs, and state parliamentarians. This parliamentarian has served to the best of her ability and has completed all parliamentary questions and services requested of her. Sincere appreciation is expressed to Recording Secretary General Peggy Troxell and Administrative Coordinator Rebecca Carruthers for their assistance throughout the year. She has written quarterly parliamentary-wise articles easily identified by the logo of a wise owl reading a current edition of Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. Her articles are found in the Parliamentarian's webpage. The subjects addressed include Rise and shine because you know parliamentary rules. It is important to know when you rise to be recognized, to ask questions, and to be counted. Rise and shine, Mrs. Sun. Mrs. Sun is the acronym to help us remember the usual order of business for meetings and agendas. MRS, Minutes, Reports, Special Committees. SUN, Special Orders, Unfinished Business, and New Business. To second or not to second, that is the question. What motions require a second, and how is a second made? Not all motions require a second. Bylaws in emergencies. The national COVID-19 pandemic and the stay-in-home mandates made it impossible to hold in-person meetings. We had to look closely at our bylaws to see what emergency contingencies and powers were already in place. The national bylaws give all power and authority to the National Board of Management in the interim between meetings of the Society. The National Board of Management voted to authorize the electronic platform meeting of the 129th Continental Congress due to the nationally declared COVID-19 pandemic and the in-person meeting restrictions. According to the Code of District of Columbia Nonprofit Corporations, corporate action taken in good faith during an emergency to further the ordinary affairs of the nonprofit corporation binds the corporation. Therefore, the 129th Sunshine Continental Congress Online became a viable option to conduct the business of the National Society during this emergency. Madam President General, it is a privilege to serve during your administration.
Thank you, Linda, for your report, and I am especially grateful for your guidance and assistance in helping us to manage the first virtual Continental Congress in the history of the National Society. You have been exemplary. The Recording Secretary General, Peggy Carney Troxell, will now present the recommendation from the National Board of Management. Mrs. Troxell.
Thank you, Madam President General. By direction of the National Board of Management, I move to place on the ballot the recommendation to adopt Rise and Shine for America as the name of the President General's project of the Van Buren administration, 2019 to 2022, and that the support of the project will energize members to rise up in meaningful service to America and to shine by raising awareness of the National Society's purpose, relevancy, and vibrancy through robust public outreach. Honor the spirit of our revolutionary ancestors and educate the public about their sacrifices while actively promoting the rights and responsibilities of U.S. citizenship. Complete the final phase of restoration for DAR Constitution Hall, propel membership to 200,000, and ensure financial stability and leadership training at every level.
Thank you, Peggy. The recommendation from the National Board of Management was just presented, and delegates received the full motion prior to the meeting. There were no discussion items or amendments received through the dedicated email inbox established for this purpose. The members will be asked to vote by ballot on Saturday to approve Rise and Shine for America as the name of the President General's project of the Van Buren administration, 2019 to 2022. Mrs. Pamela Barrick, Chair of the Tellers Committee, will now instruct us on the voting procedure. Mrs. Barrick.
Madam President General, delegates to the virtual 129th Continental Congress have a responsibility to the National Society and a duty to their chapter to cast their ballot so that we may complete the necessary business of the conference. For the 129th Continental Congress, delegates will be voting on 2 motions, the election of 1 Honorary Vice President General and 7 Vice Presidents General. The voting process will be administered during Congress by the secure, independent, third-party website, Simply Voting. Each registered delegate will log in to vote using her email address and a unique 6-digit password. In preparation for the voting, delegates were sent an email to verify their name, national number, and email address. Passwords were sent out by email on June 15th. Delegates will need to log into Simply Voting. Quorum call. On Wednesday, June 24th, all delegates were asked to log on to the Simply Voting online voting portal to provide information including their leadership if applicable. This important step was done in order to establish a quorum for the virtual 129th Continental Congress. If you missed the quorum call, you are still a delegate and you still need to vote on Saturday. Voting. Saturday, June 27th, all delegates will log into Simply Voting from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern to cast their ballots. Navigate to dar.simplyvoting.com via the link provided in your June 15th email. Enter your elector ID, which is your email address, and password, which was emailed to you on June 15th, and click the green Login button. On the next screen, you will see a Current Ballots box. Select the option for Vote Now, 129th Continental Congress Voting. On the next screen, you will see the ballot. The ballot has been reviewed by the candidates or their personal tellers for accuracy. The first 2 votes are motions. Read each motion and vote yes or no. Below the 2 motions will be the votes for candidates. The first will be the candidate for Honorary Vice President General. There is 1 candidate listed. You may vote for up to 1 candidate. The next will be candidates for Vice President General. There are 12 candidates listed. You may vote for up to 7 of these candidates. When you are finished, click the green Continue button at the bottom. The next screen will review your ballot selections. Click the red Change button if you need to make an update to your ballot. After you are satisfied that all of your selections are marked the way you desire, click the green Confirm button to submit your ballot. Success! Your ballot is submitted.
Thank you, Pamela. Nominations are now in order for the office of Vice President General. There are 12 candidates. 7 shall be elected for a term of 3 years. As noted in the standing rules of the Continental Congress, nominations of candidates for national office are limited to 2 minutes. The candidates will be nominated in the order that their names appear on the ballot. This order was determined by an official drawing that took place on May 4th by the Office of the Recording Secretary General. Leslie Rogers Miller of Kentucky, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Registrar General Sharon Withers of Kentucky.
Madam President General, thank you for allowing the candidates to present themselves. My name is Leslie Rogers Miller, Honorary State Regent of Kentucky, and I am a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
Madam President General, it is my pleasure to nominate Leslie Rogers Miller for the office of Vice President General. Leslie joined DAR as a junior in 1980, transferring in 1999 to the chapter organized by her great-grandmother. As Hart Chapter Regent, her visionary leadership, warmth, energy, and enthusiasm revitalized the chapter. These same traits, along with her skills as a communicator and team builder, have been evident throughout her DAR journey. Leslie was elected Kentucky State Regent in 2016. With the theme of charting our course, she implemented a comprehensive long-range collection plans for Duncan Tavern. Numerous valuable artifacts and paintings were conserved. To put Kentucky back in the Kentucky room, 2 portraits by noted Kentucky artists were purchased and conserved. This beautiful couple waits to greet you at 1776 D Street. The Miller administration supported many other projects consistent with DAR's mission. One highlight was raising over $90,000 for Hindman Settlement School. Leslie currently serves as the National Chair of the Historic Preservation Committee. Next to her faith and her family, preservation is her passion. Here is a fun fact. Leslie worked for 16 years in the aerospace industry. Yes, indeed, she is a rocket scientist. So, channel your inner Buzz Lightyear and support the candidate who believes the power of DAR can reach to infinity and beyond. Vote for Kentucky's Leslie Rogers Miller for VPG.
Holly Stone Blair of Massachusetts, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Reporter General Connie Oldie of New Jersey.
My name is Holly Stone Blair, Honorary State Regent of Massachusetts. I am a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
It is an honor to nominate Holly Stone Blair, Honorary State Regent of Massachusetts, for the office of Vice President General. To give you her history, Holly's seeds of DAR and her national service were planted when she was a Kentucky 6th grader who won the local DAR American History Essay Contest. In 1978, Holly joined as a junior member and is now a 42-year life member of the Mercy Warren chapter. As state regent, Holly was a motivating force who created 2 innovative projects for the Massachusetts Daughters. Her theme was "Together We Light the Path." As an enthusiastic leader, the Daughters focused on education by fundraising for Hillside School, providing a scholarship fund, additional musical instruments, and upgrading their technology. During the Hillside School tour, Holly was awarded the status of honorary alumni for her inspiring and energizing leadership. Holly showed her dedication to patriotism with her second state project in support of Trust House, a treatment center for women veterans. The daughters supplied furnishings, bedding, and personal items to turn this facility into a home for these deserving veterans. Holly chose an exciting historic preservation project for the daughters, which focused on the DAR forest in Goshen, where they placed 46 environmentally friendly benches and a fire pit throughout the area. New signage, art supplies, and books were purchased to benefit the Nature Center. She continues to be an asset to our National Society, serving as our Constitution Week National Chair. Holly's family is her blessing, with her sweetheart Don, 2 DAR daughters, and 2 CAR grandsons. You know what to do. Vote for Holly Stone Blair, number 2.
Janine Angle Dobbins of Colorado, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by Honorary President General Ann Dillon of Colorado.
I'm Janine Angle Dobbins, Colorado Honorary State Regent. I'm a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
Madam President General, I nominate Janine Angle Dobbins for the office of Vice President General. Honorary State Regent of Colorado, Janine Dobbins kept us bobbing along by organizing 2 new chapters, increasing membership, establishing a state application team, and expanding chapter officer training, as well as encouraging inter-chapter activities to promote chapter vitality. With a master's degree in history and a mathematics minor, Janine Dobbins kept us bobbing along in research by sponsoring a WPA scanning and digitization program with the DAR library. Over 2,500 volumes of WPA records were made available online, and more will be added due to the money raised above the fundraising goal. Janine Dobbins kept bobbing along with vice chairmanships of American Heritage, Genealogical Records, Community Classroom Committees, Continental Congress Seating Committee, and service on the America 250 Task Force. With strong research skills, Janine Dobbins keeps bobbing along, proving personal patriots, but also assisting prospective members with research. Janine Dobbins is a multi-talented artist, winning the American Heritage Crochet Contest and musically playing the violin, piano, guitar, viola, and most importantly, the bagpipes. Janine Dobbins also appeared in the anniversary skit during the 215 Continental Congress. When you ask the Red Robin for whom you should vote, she will say, "Vote for number 3, so Janine Dobbins can keep us bobbing along."
Marcia J. Huckey of Iowa, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by Honorary State Regent Lucinda Carter of Iowa.
Hello, I'm Marcia Huckey, State Regent of Iowa, and I'm a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
Madam President General, candidate Marcia Huckey is a 4th-generation DAR member, transferring in 1976 from CAR to the Nathaniel Fellows chapter in Iowa City. During this COVID-19 pandemic, her dedication and leadership to the National Society and the Daughters of the Hawkeye State has never been more evident. Marcia has served on the National Board of Management and House Committee for the 125th and 126th Continental Congresses. Marcia has served in every capacity on both the chapter and state level, most recently as State Regent. Marcia received her BA from the University of Northern Iowa in American History, specializing in pre-revolution to the Civil War era. Marcia has been employed by the University of Iowa in the Information Technologies Department since 1977. Marcia has volunteered for the Johnson County Historical Society, doing data entry of their collections into a computer database. Marcia is an avid Chicago Cubs baseball fan and an avid Hawkeye fan. Please join me and the Daughters of the Hawkeye State in voting for number 4 on your ballot, Marcia Huckey, for the office of Vice President General.
Susan Harvey Holt of Utah, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by Honorary President General Lynn Young of Texas.
My name is Susan Harvey Holt, and I am the Utah State Regent, and I am a candidate for Vice President General.
It is a pleasure to nominate the fantastic Susan Harvey Holt for the office of Vice President General. After discovering her grandmother's DAR application, Susan joined the Salt Lake Valley chapter in Utah and soon became chapter regent. While serving as the Utah State Society's second vice regent, Susan coordinated 2 successful state conferences. When Susan became Utah State Regent in 2018, she set goals to increase membership, organize new chapters, and promote DAR via social media platforms while engaging in community-based projects and events. Not only did Susan accomplish those goals, she exceeded them in organizing the first new chapter in Utah in more than 20 years, increasing membership by more than 80 members, and raising awareness of chapter activities in local communities. Her projects included replacing missing plaques on the Gold Star Mother's Wall. During the Van Buren administration, Susan is doing double duty as Utah State Regent and Chapter Achievement Awards National Chair. Susan loves DAR and is eager to serve the Society in any capacity. In addition to her fantastic accomplishments, here are 5 fabulous and fun facts about Susan, number 5 on the ballot. Family is foremost, as Susan and her husband David are parents of 2 children, Nicole, a junior member, and James. A financial wizard, Susan is a University of Tennessee volunteer with a degree in economics and finance. Susan is a faithful member of City Presbyterian Church. Susan is related to DAR founder Eugenia Washington. And finally, Susan secretly wants to be an archaeologist. Can you dig it? Vote for fabulous number 5, Susan Harvey Holt, for Vice President General.
Wendy Stanley Jones of New Hampshire, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Treasurer General B. Dalton of Arizona.
I'm Wendy Stanley Jones, Honorary State Regent from New Hampshire, candidate for the office of Vice President General.
Madam President General, it is my honor and privilege to nominate Wendy Stanley Jones, Honorary State Regent of New Hampshire, for the office of Vice President General. Wendy is a 4th generation, 35-year member. She joined in Maine as a junior in the chapter where her grandmother had been a member. Wendy moved to New Hampshire with her family and immediately became a valued member of the community and served many boards and organizations. She served as the chair of the Exeter Board of Selectmen. Wendy's New Hampshire DAR service includes chapter regent, chair of several chapter and state committees, state vice regent, and regent 2016-2019. Wendy has served as a senior leader of CAR. Wendy's state regent's project, Investing in Independence, had a goal to increase New Hampshire scholarships and awards. The dollars rallied to raise over $46,000 for the project. During her administration, awards to Hillside School quadrupled. A Continental Congress attendee for years, Wendy has served on the Guest Hospitality Committee. Wendy currently is serving as the National Vice Chairman of the Carolyn Holt Nursing Scholarship. A registered nurse by profession, Wendy has worked in the field for 35 years and currently works for the Beth Israel Lahey Healthcare. Wendy has been appointed to the New Hampshire Board of Nurses by Governor Sununu. Wendy and her husband Turner are the proud parents of son Christopher and daughter Ivy, a DAR member. Please join me in voting for Wendy Jones, number 6 on the ballot, for the office of Vice President General, whose proven leadership, dedication, and experience have made her an asset to the National Society.
Sue Southers Allen of Oklahoma, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Vice President General Diane Hamill of Oklahoma.
My name is Sue Southers Allen, State Regent of Oklahoma. I'm a candidate for Vice President General.
Madam President General, it is my great pleasure to place in nomination the name of Sue Southers Allen for the office of Vice President General. Sue is the sunshine of the state of Oklahoma. She has over 50 years of membership and a proud family legacy of 3 generations in DAR. Sue served as the Oklahoma State Regent from 2018 to 2020. Sue comes from a ranching family, and her State Regents project brought a harvest of blessings to Oklahoma. Funds raised during her administration were divided between our state veteran centers and two nationally recognized organizations, Team Rubicon and Partners for Heroes. Sue's Harvesting for Veterans project helped to grow funds in excess of $100,000. We also harvested items for Bacone College and several women's shelters. The Oklahoma Society is enjoying increased membership during the Allen administration. The National Board of Management recently approved 2 new chapters. These chapters were formed to specifically target working women and mothers with children needing meeting options in the evenings or on weekends. As she leaves the office of State Regent, another chapter is being formed. Sue's sunny personality has helped us grow our junior membership, and with her leadership, we have seen increasing numbers of junior members serving as pages. Sue chaired the State Junior Membership Committee for 8 years. She and her daughters have each served as Oklahoma's Outstanding Junior. As State Regent, Sue went above and beyond the requirements to visit chapters, traveling to many chapters more than once, always encouraging our members to achieve more. Her sunny smile and sincere love for DAR have inspired us to reach higher objectives. Sue has a heart for service, service to her community, state, and nation through the National Society. Oklahoma daughters are proud to support Sue as a candidate for the office of Vice President General and hope you will join us in voting for number 7 on your ballot.
Cynthia Cindy Beal Suick of Missouri, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past corresponding Secretary General Sally Bueno of Missouri.
My name is Cynthia Cindy Bell Suick, Missouri State Regent, and I am a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
It is with great pleasure that I nominate Missouri State Regent Cynthia Cindy Bell Suick for the position of Vice President General. In the midst of a most unusual year for our society, Cindy Suick has not let the COVID-19 pandemic slow her work in DAR. In the face of adversity, she believes there can be growth. In the face of discouragement, she believes there can be hope. Cindy's optimistic outlook and faith will serve our members well. Cindy believes in our DAR mission and has a deep appreciation for its roots. Cindy came into DAR wearing her servant's heart and her running shoes. She was motivated by a powerful, simple idea. She knew she had the energy and the charisma to make an impact. Almost immediately following her induction into NSDAR, Cindy began serving the society in big ways. Her work as chapter historian, project paycheck chair, and chapter regent cultivated an understanding of how the society functions. This prepared her to serve at the state level as state corresponding secretary, state organizing secretary, state vice regent, and now as state regent. Her work took her to chapters needing encouragement, veterans needing assistance and care, students and schools in need of support, and historical landmarks in need of preservation. During her term in office, she learned the real secrets of leadership: disagree without being disagreeable, compromise without compromising the truth, and by listening to each other, we can accomplish great things. This is more than a nomination for Vice President General to Cindy. It's a call to be a voice for daughters across the society. It's a dedication to the bright, sun-shining future of NSDAR.
Terry Lynn Clark Rubenstein of Nevada, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Vice President General Susan Thomas of Tennessee.
I am Terry Lynn Clark Rubenstein, Nevada State Regent, and I am a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
I am so pleased to place in nomination the name of Terry Clark Rubenstein, Nevada's terrific state regent, for the office of Vice President General. Terry and her family settled in Nevada in 1990, and after retirement from a highly successful career in specialty store management, Terry joined DAR's Valley of Fire chapter in 2010. She quickly got involved, served as chapter vice regent, then took on the challenge as organizing regent for the new Red Rock Canyon chapter in 2014, while serving Nevada in various chairman and officer positions. Under her leadership, Nevada Daughters were among the first to sign up for the New Horizons course, and terrific Terry was one of the first graduates. She led the State Americanism Committee to partner in the naturalization court proceedings. Terry's terrific work at the chapter and state level culminated in her election as state regent, where she adapted and rolled out the Nevada State Application Team to more quickly add new members, developed a training manual for state officers and chapter regents, organized 2 new chapters, and has led the state to a terrific 14% net membership growth during her term. Terry's state projects have provided support to over 20,000 homeless high school students and financed 3 scholarships. And Nevada won national recognition for their sustaining supporter participation under her leadership. A businesswoman, a consummate leader, Terry is a multi-talented, personable lady who brings vision, energy, and innovation to DAR projects and procedures. Terry is simply terrific. I urge your vote and support for Terry Clark Rubenstein for the office of Vice President General.
Mary Lou Beaver Fellman of Arizona, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Vice President General Joe Andrus of Arizona.
Hello, I'm Mary Lou Beaver Fellman, the State Regent in Arizona, and I am a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
Arizona Daughters decided to leave it to Beaver. I am Joe Beaver Andrus, and I'm honored to nominate Mary Lou Beaver Fellman, Honorary State Regent of Arizona, and my sister as a candidate for the office of Vice President General. Mary Lou joined Camelback Chapter in 1991 and served as Arizona's 56th State Regent. Under the leadership of the Beav, Arizona Daughters wholeheartedly supported several state projects. Supporting patriotism and love of our veterans, Arizona DAR will send off 34 veterans on honor flight this coming fall to Washington, D.C. to visit their war memorials. The busy Beavers did not stop there. Mary Lou's love of music took the spotlight with her educational goal, raising funds which provided 49 musical instruments and free music lessons to Rosie's House, a music academy for disadvantaged youth. A $5,000 grant was obtained and $10,000 was raised by Arizona Daughters for this most worthwhile project. Preservation of Arizona's rich history is important to Mary Lou. A DAR historical marker was placed on the bank of the Colorado River, the Empire Flat Landing Site, a steamboat landing from 1860 to 1930, which tells the story of the importance of steamboats and mining to the growth of the Arizona Territory before Arizona was even a state. Under the Beav's leadership, Arizona DAR state conference registration became automated, an electronic payment system was implemented, and an online contact system was achieved, allowing for direct communication with daughters statewide. Arizona Daughters have been very busy Beavers these last 2 years. Mary Lou has represented us well, and she will continue to do the same for the National Society. Remember, don't take advice from Eddie Haskell, take it from me. Leave it to Beaver. That's Mary Lou Beaver Fellman, number 10 on the ballot for Vice President General.
Sharon Crumbaker Frizzell of Illinois, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Vice President General Mary Gustafson of Illinois.
I am Sharon Crumbaker Frizzell, Honorary State Regent of Illinois, and a candidate for the office of Vice President General.
Mr. President General, it is a privilege and honor to nominate Sharon Crumbaker Frizzell, Honorary State Regent of Illinois, for the office of Vice President General. Sharon Frizzell joined the Letitia Green Stevenson chapter in 1995. She is a life member of NSDAR. Service should be the middle name of Sharon Frizzell. National service includes serving on the National Board of Management 2015 to 2017. She is a member of America 250 Membership Task Force Committee. She is a trained volunteer genealogist and Lineage Research Lookup Board member. She has 61 member-for-member credits. She has served on a Continental Congress Committee, the KDS Board of Trustees, and was a member of the Tomasi Regents Council. As State Regent, Sharon Frizzell's projects included funding for the Illinois dugout at KDS baseball field, support of Illinois Cottage at Tomasi, and donations made to veterans facilities and to the NSDAR Guardian Trust Endowment. Sharon has served Illinois as State Regent, Vice Regent, and Chaplain. She has served her chapter as Regent, Registrar, Treasurer, and Historian. Sharon received a BS degree from the University of North Texas and an MS degree from Baylor University. She is a retired medical technologist. She and Daniel have been married for 31 years. Sharon Frizzell has demonstrated her love and devotion to the ideals of NSDAR through her service to the National Society, the Illinois State Organization, and her chapter. Allow Sharon to continue her service by voting for number 11, Sharon Crumbaker Frizzell, for Vice President General.
Adele Lancaster of California, candidate for the office of Vice President General, will be nominated by past Treasurer General Carol Jackson of California.
My name is Adele Lancaster, and I am currently the California State Regent and a candidate for the office of Vice President General. Thank you, Madam President General, for the opportunity for us to introduce ourselves.
I nominate Adele Lancaster for the office of Vice President General. Currently, she is serving as California State Regent. Gracious, friendly, committed, extraordinarily capable are words to describe Adele. Adele's theme is California Daughters, making a difference in our service to God, home, and country. Adele exemplifies serve to lead. In all she does, she finds a way to fulfill her duties, and she seeks to make a difference, from her career as a classroom teacher and school principal to her service in California DAR and NSDAR. You may know Adele from the DAR Schools Tour. As state chair, she sparked interest in the schools with her invitation to come with me and see. Many California daughters have now trekked to them and worked to make a difference in the students' lives. As California Regent, Adele has overseen the complete revision of the California bylaws, no small task. She raised over $100,000 for the Smart Homes program of the Gary Sinise Foundation. Adele worked to make a difference in our meetings, inaugurating the use of multimedia in our reporting. Under her leadership, the California Board has navigated these difficult times, communicating with our members and handling the business of the California Society. Adele rejoices in your successes. She is cool in a crisis. She encourages communication and clarity. Adele is soft-spoken and very focused. Her cumulative experience makes Adele superbly qualified to serve as Vice President General. And Adele, number 12, will encourage you to make a difference as we rise and shine for God, home, and country.
Nominations are now in order for the office of Honorary Vice President General. As you may be aware, there are currently 2 vacancies that were created by the passing of George Ann Marty and Marilyn Creedon. However, the National Society's bylaws permit vacancies in the office of Honorary Vice President General to be filled only when created by December 31st of the prior year. Because Mrs. Creedon passed away during 2020, that vacant position will be filled through a ballot vote at next year's Congress. There is one candidate who shall be elected for life. Virginia A. Poffenberger of Florida, candidate for the office of Honorary Vice President General, will be nominated by past Organizing Secretary General Jean Mann of Florida.
My name is Virginia Ginger Macmillan Poffenberger, Vice President General, Class of 2020, Honorary State Regent, Florida, and a candidate for the office of Honorary Vice President General.
Madam President General, it is my honor and privilege to nominate Virginia Macmillan Poffenberger for the office of Honorary Vice President General. She has been a dedicated member of DAR for just shy of 60 years and a delegate to Continental Congress for 42 years. During that time, she has made significant contributions to the National Society, 2 state organizations, and CAR. Ginger served as National Chairman of the Flag of the United States Committee during the Wright administration and was the President General's appointee to KDS-DAR School in 2019. She was the number 1 for the VPG class of 2020. She has served as President of the VPG Club and Secretary Chaplain of the State Regents Club. Ginger has served both the Texas and Florida societies with distinction. Though she has many accomplishments in Texas, her most important achievements were while serving as the State Regent of Florida from 2015 to 2017. Ginger's State Regent project provided $150,000 to renovate the girls' softball field at KDS, with an additional $27,000 for a maintenance fund. The beautiful carpet runner in Constitution Hall was a gift from the Florida Society. The Guardian Trust Fund was the recipient of $280,000. An endowed Page Fund was established to assist Florida Pages with Continental Congress expenses. The first Florida-sponsored honor flight was made during her tenure, and since Ginger was over the age limit as a guardian, she was allowed on the flight as an ambassador. 2 new chapters were organized. While serving as VPG, she also served as senior president of the Florida Society CAR. Her tireless energy will allow her to continue to serve DAR as Honorary Vice President General.
Delegates are reminded that electronic voting will be conducted between 8 a.m. Eastern Time and 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, June 27, 2020, through the Simply Voting portal. Instructions with a unique password credential were provided to each eligible voter in advance. The newly elected officers will be announced on Saturday afternoon following the Saturday afternoon session and installed into office on Sunday morning. As the exciting conclusion of this evening's business, it is a pleasure for me to share a video that celebrates the winners of this year's American Heritage Contest, which was established to preserve our rich American heritage in the fields of art and sculpture, crafts, fiber arts, literature, and drama, as well as music. We are so fortunate that these talented members share their remarkable gifts with the National Society. I am certain that you will be impressed by these winning entries.
We will rise and we will shine. We will raise our voices and speak our minds. 100 years since that first time we were counted, and now we shine. Our foremothers fought for many years to find a way to make our voices heard, with rallies, marches, and some hidden tears. And worse, they endured hunger, strikes, and prison cells. Suffragists have a story to tell of how they finally won the day, and in their memory I'll say that we will rise and we will shine. We will all cast our votes, we can speak our minds. 100 years since that first time we were counted, and now we shine. Many were the women who stood firm and fought the fight to keep the dream alive. With work and hope and passion they did yearn, and finally they arrived. The vote was hard won for all by women like Stanton, Walker, and Paul, Sojourner Truth, and Susan Anthony. So many women fought for you and me.
Congratulations and thank you to all of the winners. Be sure to make time to attend as many of the sessions and events during our virtual 129th Continental Congress as possible. We especially hope that you will make time to attend the celebration of DAR philanthropy tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. when we will recognize the generous contributions of our nearly 25,000 active donors. Thank you to everyone who is participating in our virtual Congress, and a wish for all to remain safe and secure wherever you are this evening. I am grateful for your continued support. The meeting is recessed until tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will close informally with some sunshine hands to watch over you until we meet again.